just to make a little segue into this, the first thing we're going to talk about here in this episode, the WWE, boy, you know what I mean? Last night,
Right.
Times Recording
WrestleMania.
had their first night of WrestleMania 36. So essentially, they've marketed this thing as, because at first we were like, oh, because of what's going on, they're going to cancel this thing, right? But
Right.
no, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, this is too big for just one night. That's the tagline that they're
Right.
going with, right? And you know, at first I was like, I think we talked about this before, in a previous episode. We were like, you know, Vince just really, really, really can't let go of this thing, you know, but like he just wants to hold on to this thing
But
first.
that's
You know? He's not gonna back out like, you know, a NFL
Right.
or, you know, NBA now.
Right. Because that's the problem with NFL, because WrestleMania is so big, it's real hard for them to say, you know, we can't do this now or that now, as it is now. That's the problem in general now. And
Yeah.
so for them now to say, oh, we can't, we gonna pull out and so on, so it's like, nah, that is a stretch. So they've been doing for the last I think couple months or so. I'm not sure how long they've been doing it, but basically they cancel their shows, but they're doing it like they're doing the whole no crowd stuff now.
Yeah. They've been doing it in their performance center location, basically in Florida.
Right. So, but the thing is that, you know, it's kind of like when you look at a sitcom without the audience.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
it is just weird and just kind of dry, and remember this stuff designed for the crowd now. So
yeah,
you know, if you're gonna have no audience, you're gonna have to do a total rehaul. So, well, we're gonna get to the thing. I think 2 years ago, Roman Reigns had a match that was this kind of cinematic match now, and that is basically what kind of happened with, well, last night had an amazing goddamn match. And we could talk about that now.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a bit, right? But there's just a couple things, right? Well, I should say a few things, right? So, one, at first I was a little skeptical about this thing because I never forget, sorry, and we mentioned this a while back, an episode of, you know, Friday Night SmackDown where literally there was no audience and it was like the most surreal thing I ever saw, right? It was kind of laughable at the same time, but you know, over time I was like, okay, this is seriously, you know, like they have no choice in the matter. They kind of have to do it, and you know, you really have to applaud the cast, or I should say the wrestlers involved there, because you know, under normal circumstances they should be home with their families and whatnot, but you know, they are still coming out, not every day of course, but they are coming out too with the intention of just entertaining the fans themselves, who, you know, as some ring announcers would say, could watch it off of Zoom, could watch it off of the WWE network or whatever platform they have, right? But you really have to give them a round of applause for this way, because yeah, under normal circumstances, they should be in their house right now, man. So houses, sorry, you know what I mean? But yeah, but talking about WrestleMania 36 for itself. So yes, you know what I mean, matches took place and it was just without an audience, right? And you know, ever so often, like while I was watching those things, okay, yeah, you only saw that final match. I saw, well, everything. I was just curious about how this thing was going to play out, right? It wasn't as surreal as all that, but oftentimes I was like, you know, this really would have been a lot more impactful if there was an audience involved. But you could tell once again behind the scenes, they're really using what they have. They're really using what they have here. So I can't really knock them down for it. But at the same time, it's almost like they're just trying to reignite this flame, basically, right? But it's just not there. But hey, they're doing their best, right? And you know, like everything was kind of normal, you know what I mean? People doing their thing, people winning, all that kind of stuff. The match prior to the match we're going to talk about, which is the Undertaker versus AJ Styles, there was the Universal Championship, right, which featured Goldberg. But what happened, like how it was initially slated, was that, as I mentioned, Roman Reigns, he was supposed to be the guy to face him. But I think this came out either the day before. I actually saw it after the fact, read it after the fact, I should say. He backed out, actually.
Okay.
Mainly because, well, for the past few years, or I should say, well, a while back, he was diagnosed with leukemia.
Okay.
So I think it was early last year that he came back because he took like about a few months hiatus, you know what I mean, just to, to undergo medical treatment. Came back and said he was in remission, right? So it's like, okay, he could get back to what he was doing. So, they were touting this big confrontation, well, earlier this year actually, with Goldberg and,
Right.
Roman Reigns, real hyping it up and stuff like that. So me going in, I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes stuff, but it's kind of funny that as the match starts, this guy, this big, strong, giant guy called Braun Strowman, right? Well, that's the stage name,
Yeah.
shows up. But it didn't register to me that, oh, he's the one facing against Goldberg. But nobody mentioned it, what went on in Roman Reigns. Usually they kind of they just kind of swept it under the rug now. Then I read that apparently the WWE management, were peeved at, Roman's decision. And mainly it's just because he's worried about his health. You know what I mean? With this thing being a virus, he's worried about, contracting it now. So that's why he backed out. But I can't speak for the manager because, honestly, yes, you do have to think about your health. But at the same time, everybody else is showing up and doing what they're doing. And he was there for the past couple of weeks. So why back out now? You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, I
I
mean,
can't say it's a
I
bad
can
idea. I
understand.
can't say it's a good one. In a way,
I
I
can
get
understand.
why he's doing it, but we should
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
gotten a little heads up. That's all I'll say.
Right now, for stuff like this, I don't know. I find, well, it's one of those things you don't know if you would have made that decision ahead of time anyway. So because the problem is that because again Vince is an asshole, we know that he don't have, I don't think for a lot of his wrestlers he don't have healthcare, he don't have a bunch of things there. So I can understand, why he would make something like a decision like that. I get it, but
Right.
it's one of those you should have make decisions ahead of time now. But again, COVID, people didn't think COVID would escalate this way now. So that's a decision you'd have probably had to make recently. So I don't know.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. But other than that, the match was what it was. It was ridiculously quick, and of course, the big, strong Braun Strowman, of course, won. So now I'm there thinking, well, yeah, clearly Roman was supposed to win that. So whatever, we'll see how things play out when after that, right?
Right.
And now for the moment that that pretty much made the whole event. That pretty much made the whole show. And it was so interesting, right? It took me back to the Attitude Era, the Raw's War era, right?
Right.
And it's ironic that Undertaker is involved because, a majority of the cinematic theatrical stuff is usually centered on him, on his character of the
Yeah.
Undertaker now. More particularly the stuff involving Kane when he now came into WWF at the time, and he
Yeah.
had this big
Yeah.
storyline with, oh, it's your brother who is
Yeah.
presumed dead and all that kind of stuff. And they made that so over the top and theatrical. And I don't know, like while I was watching this thing, I was like, this is kind of harking back to that, just that over the top theatricality about it now.
No, yeah. All of his stuff, all of Undertaker stuff has been that, that level of showmanship. Remember when Stephanie McMahon was going to get married to him and he did the
Yes.
whole Ministry of Evil and Stone Cold had to come and kick everybody ass.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That's, yeah, Undertaker has always been at the heart of some of the best stories and some of the best arcs in WWF history, WWE history. And well,
Yeah.
for this, they brought back the American badass Undertaker. He
Yes.
get by Taker.
Yeah.
That
And
is classic Taker.
no, I kind of just lost my shit when I saw him on the bike though, and he had
Yeah.
the American badass gear and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing that was missing, I'm glad I wasn't there, was Limp Bizkit's rolling.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
and yeah, Kid Rock, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
the
Kid Rock.
Metallica song that he was writing to was dope. I swear, I think I know the song, but this can't remember the name of it, right? But yeah,
Right.
I just going thinking, let's talking behind the scenes stuff, right? Um, it reminded me of a match that I saw like a couple of years ago, involving Matt Hardy, well, a veteran wrestler from like the Attitude
Yeah, I
Era
know.
against
Yeah,
this guy Bray Wyatt, basically, right? And it was that same sort of multi-camera cinematic
yeah.
kind of
Like the
feel,
old
really
cinema.
like it's edited to feel like it's equivalent to some kind of like 80s slasher flick there. Once again with with the fog machine, and it's all in the nighttime, and it's in this sparse location and all kind of stuff. I think it was at Hardy's estate or something like that. 'Cause I think it ended with somebody getting thrown into a pool or some kind of drama like that. But it was in his estate now. In this case, they call it the Boneyard Match, so they can't
Yeah.
say graveyard because I think, I, I don't know if it was like a attempt by WWE to say, okay, we don't want to say grave because people thinking about that, with the virus and things. So we just call it Boneyard Match. It was kind of weird, but I mean, it added a lot to the whole Undertaker mystique, right? And before I get to the thoughts, at first I was like, okay, they're really doing this, Dread. Like, they're really doing this. They're doing the whole, oh, it's not real, guys. You know what I mean? Because that's something that a lot of people tend to take from wrestling. How fake, quote unquote, it is. Even though when you think about the moves they're doing and just the pain that they go through, like the pain and
Yeah,
all
of
the moves and
course.
stuff is real, but people just
Yeah,
take the theatrical stuff
the old
and
joke. Yeah, that's the old joke about wrestling is fake, but what's Hulk Hogan say? Wrestling is fake, but I've had 9 real back surgeries, right?
yeah, exactly. So people take the theatrical stuff. People take the banter and all that kind of stuff and run with it and think, oh, it's all fake, right? So when I saw the setup of it, I was like, oh, are we doing this? Like premise wise, okay, it had to work like this, but I was like, oh gosh, we're doing the cinematic stuff, and then it just slowly grew on me. Sorry, and I got into it. What they were going for, and after applaud them once again, it was solid. Like if
No,
the
I
if the
I think it's
intention of the
great.
whole thing was just to entertain, they succeeded immensely. They A+ in terms of the entertainment factor, Jed. And honestly, out of everything that we saw, like the in-ring stuff inside the performance center, having this change of pace there, having this change of scenery basically, yeah, worked, right? And they did
Yeah,
it in such an epic way, bringing back the American Badass, and then have the cocky AJ Styles go up against him, and just having all these little twists and turns, and they
yeah,
had with the guys, the hooded guys, basically ganging up to fight Undertaker.
yeah,
Like I tell you, it was so cinematic, but it's one of those
yeah.
kind
It's
of
hot.
shut your brain, go back to the WWF Attitude Era, and
Right.
yeah, it's WrestleMania, guys. Come on. So yeah, A+ for me for that match in particular. What were your thoughts on the Boneyard match?
Yeah, and I loved it. It's one of the best things that they do in a long time, and it's exactly what you had to do with respect to if this is going to adapt itself to the future, and you're going to not have an audience. This is what you're going to have to do. You have to figure out
Yeah,
a way to get
correct.
those. And
Exactly.
the problem, you'll have to pack it with action. Like, okay, again, this is use it to the sitcom concept, right? Something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine that doesn't have an audience, you have to pack it with more joke and fill it up better now. Same
Right,
thing.
and be more over the top than your average sitcom.
Right, at a
Right.
packet, right. So with this now, you had to figure out a way to get it where how you're gonna have these characters translate to the new media or the new media format now, or the new approach. As I say, messages media is the message, as they say now. And yeah, I was quite impressed myself.
Yeah, me
Like,
too, me too. A
you,
smile, a laugh, a giggle, a groan at first, but but I just went in, but and it's campy, it's
yeah,
corny, but it's all WWE, it's all showmanship. In a way, it just kind of encapsulates what wrestling is about, and in a way, what
yeah,
WrestleMania is about. You always have to have that one match that everybody will remember, and just to close things off as far as this section goes. I don't know what, because I mean, we still have to see the second and final night, right? Which is tonight, the time it's recording here. I don't know what the legacy will be as far as this whole event goes. I haven't bothered to go on Twitter to see what people said about that match and that first night in particular. I don't know. But I don't want people to come out of it saying, "Oh, this is the worst WrestleMania ever," and this is terrible, and
nah,
blah blah blah. But it I don't know. Like I say, we'll have to see. But I just hope that legacy wise, people will remember this because above everything else, it just shows what the WWE is about, what the wrestlers are about, what they have been doing for years. You know what I mean? Showing up, doing what they have to do. Yes, it's for a paycheck. Let's be real here. Um,
yeah,
but it's all about entertaining the so-called WWE universe. And yet, once again, you have to applaud him. You have to give Jackie Jacket because everybody came and did what they have to do. Well, Roman Reigns is the exception, but still, everybody came. They what they had to do. They face uncertainty and they just entertain us. So, what more can we ask for? Anything else you want to see on that match? Well,
No,
I
no,
should actually, if you're looking out for anything else, in the second night, or you just will you just could live with the Boneyard match. You could just move on with that.
yeah, I thought it was fine as this. I was that's I thought it was just damn cool for what it was. It was just fun as hell. So like, yeah, I would.
Yeah, it was a nice throwback match, and you kind of need that, you know what I mean? Well, in this situation, because remember, once again, it's WrestleMania. You want people to remember stuff like this. So, I do agree with you. This is a step in the right direction. They should do this, like, because I heard that they're actually gonna preempt, or I should say cancel the other pay-per-views until further notice. So I don't know
Right.
if every month or every 2 weeks you're gonna get some kind of over the top main event like that. But hey, we'll see soon enough, right? But yeah, this Boneyard match gets an A+. If above
Right.
everything else, if it's up on YouTube, it should be. Yeah, if there's one match to check out today, check it out. At least, especially, and even if you're not a fan of wrestling, really after that, you should just kind of entertain it, right? But yeah,